The first story that I'm sharing today comes out of the Central African nation of Democratic Republic of Congo, aka DRC. This is in relation to cobalt and copper production and transportation. This includes the companies Glencore and CMOC, which are the owners of the company in which the truckers transporting these minerals are on strike. They are on strike because of the lack of pay that they're getting and the conditions of work that they're experiencing. DRC is the largest producer of cobalt, and cobalt is used in many things that we are enjoying globally, such as automobiles, anti alloy agents, and anti tarnishing agents. So, it's important that we keep in mind this story because DRC, as well as the African continent, is very important in production of different raw materials, iron ore, etc. So basically, people in the city of Kelawezi, usually these transporters or drivers, are driving to the South African nation of Zambia. They are risking their lives and they are wanting more pay. So we are definitely supporting these people. We're supporting what they're asking for and standing for because we know how important their job is, and we will continue to keep them in our prayers. This is a story that has happened as of October. I have not heard any updates in the talks and negotiations with these workers, but when I do, I will definitely keep you posted. African excellence is at its best in the southern country of Burundi as a young person by the name of Lakoi Takona has built their first drone from scratch. This drone basically is still being tested out, but the main reason that it was built was to help with agricultural efforts, basically agrotechnology. So there, it's going to save billions of dollars in agricultural costs in the country, and I'm sure they will be perfecting this model to execute, or I should say, produce more in the country to help this effort. But the idea that this young college student was able to build this is amazing in itself and is a testament to our excellence. We have the knowledge, all we need is the technology and the funds. So, Mr. Lakoi Takona, congratulations, and we look forward to hearing more about your wonderful efforts in your country that I'm sure will spread to other African countries. With the climate change, environmental change trend that's happening on this episode, it takes us all the way to the East African country known as Kenya, as they declare this November 13th a holiday in which they will be planting trees. The idea ultimately is to have plant 15 billion trees by the year 2032. This will be a continued effort, of course. Their government has set aside about 80 million for this effort, which I think is plausible. And I'm also hoping that they have this amount of funds, if not more, to help support the people there in efforts for their daily livings and survival things that they need, such as food, housing, education, etc. So we'll be watching this feat. This is also similar to the effort to plant trees across the Sahel, the climatic region that is kind of a mix of subtropical and desert that starts from Ethiopia, basically from east to West Africa, you can say, either way you look at it. So we're definitely keeping our eyes on this prize, and we hope that other countries follow to help combat, reverse, or at least slow down climate change, which is happening there and everywhere else on this planet. The southern African country known as Namibia has begun construction on Africa's first decarbonized iron plant. The project is funded by or supported by the German federal government, which isn't, but the act in itself is pretty innovative, being the first African country to do this. Decarbonization is the strategic reduction of human-induced carbon dioxide emissions to combat the severe impacts of global warming. Otherwise, us humans are causing this. This effort demands a worldwide pivot away from fossil fuels, including oil, coal, and gas, which is all produced on the African continent as well. So this is pretty like historic to kind of help reduce global warming if we're able to in itself. So the feat is actually admirable, and we're wishing the Namibian government their best. They signed their agreement with the European Union to supply the bloc with green hydrogen and minerals needed for clean energy production. So this is all environmental friendly work. Like I said, this is pretty historic and amazing, though we are kind of side-eyeing the backing. Knowing the colonial history, we do understand that you have to take baby steps to get to the ultimate goal. So we definitely look forward to seeing how this plant works and, how it helps to reduce CO2 emissions in the environment. And we hope to see more African countries and then eventually all countries doing this. So this is another story that we look forward to hearing more about in the future. Final story comes from the West African country of Nigeria, specifically in their capital of Lagos, Nigeria, or their former capital, I should say. They recently had their 13th iconic fashion week, in which heavy hitters from throughout the continent and also based in Nigeria show off their iconic and innovative fashions. Ironically, there's been an UN study that basically predicts the African continent to be the leader of fashion for future years and decades. And this is ironic because those of us who grew up within African cultures know that we have been doing this for so long. It's just that our fashions have been mimicked and sometimes stolen from the West and put on their runways. So this is nothing that surprises us because we are the leaders of fashion and things never change. We just were not getting the much credit that we deserve. But it's amazing to see that these different fashion events continue to go on the continent. I know that Chanel recently had a show in Dakar, Senegal. These are all things that you can check out on the internet. And we look forward to seeing more of our fashion pieces being worn in the West. This is the last story of the day. Please continue to stay tuned, support, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace and blessings.